Hi there, and welcome to Screech Bob-Omb Commentaries. My name is David Baron von Fabulous Lark. This is my delightful co-commentator.
Callum, the good Dr. Young.
And today we're bringing you some more action from the Keyforge online team event. This is the semi-finals, where we see Lick All taking on Hamburg Atlanteans. Do you want to tell us who we're commentating on today, Callum?
So today we are looking at Anthony 1 for Lick All versus Kiwi for Hamburg Atlanteans. Hamburg Atlanteans 2. And we're going to start with Anthony 1's deck, which some Google Translate tells me is called Ecstatic Wetland Polymath N. Grigrove, which is
easy for you to say.
No, it was not, as it turns out. And what I characterize this deck as is an 8-way rush deck, which is not something you see that often. But
No.
I'm looking at 29 expected Ember, which is well above average.
Yeah. And
so
when you say it's a rush deck, someone might be surprised that we're looking at a rush deck. They may point to the speed and go, it's got 5.8 speed. That seems ridiculous. But I think the speed very much undercuts how fast this deck can actually go. When you've got, like, say, double Eurekas, when you've got stuff like the ZX Researchers and the Archimedes, you can really push through your deck at a rate of knots.
Yeah, not just much rushing through the deck in terms of cycling, but generating a lot of Ember very quickly. So we have the Brig combo, infamous at this point.
Yep, so that would be Binate Rupture, Alpha. Each player gains Ember equal to the Ember in their pool, functionally doubling their Ember. And then you have the Interdimensional Graft, where you take all the Ember that your opponent's gone by doing that.
So, big way of generating a whole bunch of Ember very quickly. We also have double Eurekas, which is 3 Ember with 1 card. And then we have 2 ZYX Researchers. So whenever you hit one of those big Logos combos, you probably be able to play a Researcher and archive it straight out of your discard pile.
Exactly. And if those combos aren't forthcoming when you get ZYX Researchers, you can do the top of your deck instead and just get useful cards for the other combos in this deck.
Cycle a bit more. Then we have the Untamed, usually the Rush House. And in this form, it's quite a few actions with pips on. And then the big swing will be Soldiers to Flowers.
Yeah. Purge each untamed creature from each player's discard pile. For each card purged this way, it only gains 1. You can see that Odin Agressivo, the opponent, doesn't have any untamed to speak of, so this is going to be purely beneficial for
so you can
Anthony's deck.
You can safely toss several untamed creatures in the discard pile, hit that Soldiers to Flowers, gain 4 or 5, and then key charge out.
Yeah. Also, a couple of rares in the untamed table quickly glance over. It's the Quicksand, so destroy the most powerful creature controlled by each player who does not control a ready untamed creature. Again, can be very one-sided for the untamed player. Going here. We also have a Kindreth Longshot, which is Elusive Skirmish and Reap, deal 2 damage to a creature. Not the best creature, but
it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Elusive and Skirmish don't quite do as much as the designers thought they would in KOTE.
No, not quite.
But are fine. And then we have the Dis, where you have some fun cycling with the old Yerk and Yerks, just to discard some cards. And then basically things that will slow your opponent down. So stuff like the Charrettes, stuff like Gongoozle, just discard cards, 3 Fates to destroy creatures when you don't have many large ones.
Banish, put a creature in your opponent's archives, gets around any destroyed effects, which there are a few in this deck.
And Double Not Finished with you, just to recycle any creatures you might want, like the Researchers, and like the final one I think we should talk about, which is the Neutron Shark.
Yeah. So Neutron Shark is play, fight, reap, destroy an enemy creature or artifact and a friendly creature or artifact. Discard the top card of your deck. If that card is not a Logos card, trigger this effect again.
So we'll discard cards to get those untamed creatures in the discard pile, and combo well with Archimedes in a combo affectionately known as Sharkimedes.
Sharkimedes. So yeah, you can see Archimedes text is each of Archimedes' neighbors getting destroyed archive this creature. So what that means is, though, you can just keep destroying your own creatures, putting them in your archives, which for things like, say, a ZWX Researcher, it's a great place for it to be. Or even, like, say, a Dust Imp as well can be really strong in that sense. So you're giving yourself benefit while also destroying your opponent's creatures.
Yeah. And also for those artifact control, notably. So this deck's going to generate a lot of Ember very quickly, and hopefully key charge out for the win. Can it be stopped by Kiwi's deck?
I think if it's going to be stopped by anything, it's a deck like this, because I think the first thing you're drawn to here is the Dis which is 41 sass in and of itself.
41.
That's nearly as good as I think there are some decks that are less than 41.
There are decks that are less than 41 sass.
Yeah, this is one house that's almost an entire deck of Keyforge in itself, and it's 3 control the weeks.
Yeah, so there will be 3 control the weeks. complete with several board wipes or things that destroy creatures, you're pretty much going to be looking to make them fully skip turns, which is
Yeah,
obviously crushing in a short game.
exactly.
You also have ways to recycle those control the weeks or play them on a Logos turn, either reshuffling your discard with help from future self and the Time Traveler.
Exactly. You also have a key to dis here. I don't think board control is going to be too important in this matchup, but just it is a rare. So Omni, sacrifice key to dis, destroy each creature.
Just really helps you double down on the power of your control the weak plays.
Also with like say dust imps on the board, if you want to control the weak, clear the board, get rid of your dust imps and say, well, I'm going to make you choose your dis so you can't fuck about with my Ember total here. It's really good to be able to do.
Nova Archaeologist, get control the weak back from your discard pile, why not?
Yeah.
And then the Logos is just pretty fast. KOTE Logos is pretty good.
Yeah, some great Logos here. So Time Traveler, always a big favourite, is play, draw 2 cards, action,
Time Traveler.
Shuffle it into your deck. There's a little Ember Pip on there. And also you have the Help from Future Self, which is search your deck and discard pile for a Time Traveler, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your discard pile into your deck. Could do some really great things with this as well. If you've still got like say Phase Shift, if you want to pawn sacrifice your Time Traveler and then use that Help from Future Self, you can do that. Similar with Poison Wave, you could also use that on it.
And then the Shadows is KOTE Shadows. So there's Ember stealing things, there's creature destruction.
Before we move on to Shadows, let's talk about one last card from Logos, which is Desania.
Ah, yes, true.
Your opponent discards each of their archive cards. You give them 1 for each card discarded this way. This one might be one you've seen quite a bit. It's very useful with kind of the auto encoder being quite in the meta. Desania has become very powerful. But against a deck like Anthony's deck, you see, you know, with things like the Eurekas, like the Sharkaminis we talked about, like the ZYX Researcher, really limits the amount of arcane you can do because you know that Desania is a threat.
A lot of AoE Logos is about archiving, and so you're going to really put the dampeners on that. And then we have Shadows, which I think significantly, most of all, has double miasma.
Yeah.
So you can very much stall out there, trying to set up a big interdimensional graft play.
Exactly, and with the Binate Rupture, there's definitely potential for that. I mean...
Yeah. Potentially you hold the graft until you can survive Brig, but if we even see that with the control of the weeks.
Yeah, I think the remainder of the Shadows, well, good. You know, nothing many. You can see 20 sass here, not the best Shadows you'll ever see. You know, Noddy the Thieves, Dodgers, fine cards, bad penny. Situationally can be good, but not much to take advantage of it in this deck.
Yeah, I've seen better KOTE Shadows for sure.
And arguably one of the worst cards in the game, Key of Darkness. It's bad.
A rare, so let's obviously talk about that. It sucks, and I never want to see it again.
Play Forge a Key at +6 current cost. If your opponent has no Ember, Forge a Key at +2 current cost instead. Yeah, spam. No one wants this.
I don't know about you, but ultimately I think the triple control of the week will do, I think, comfortably enough to shut down Anthony's deck and prevent it from rushing its way to victory.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think
grind it out.
You're looking to like take a very big advantage on, say, your Binate Rupture turns, your Key Charge turns. You know, these are the kind of things you want to do, and just being able to control the weak into Dis, which I'd say is Anthony's worst house. I think is going to be seen a lot. Can really like just kind of gum up the deck and allow Odin to accelerate further. And you see Odin not a slow deck in itself. You see the speed of 9.8. Plenty of ways to get things through quickly, and just being able to slow down Anthony's deck with that control of the weak, I think, could be the real problem here.
All right, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, see you in the game portion of the episode. Okay, and welcome to the game portion of the episode. We have Kiwi on top of the screen playing Odin L'Aggressivo, and we have Anthony on the bottom of the screen. Could you repeat what the name of that deck was again, Callum?
Yep, Google Translate tells me it's Ecstatic Wetland Polymath and Grigrove.
Very much. And we've seen Quicksand early doors, getting rid of that mother. I think Anthony's going to be very happy to see that gone. Then he's going to play a Song of Spring and a Dana. I think just to get a creature on the board, do a bit of reaping potentially.
Just getting through. A little bit disappointed to not get an opening Eureka, perhaps.
Yeah,
maybe some other logos early.
Yeah, I think that's what you're looking for. I mean, generally better if you've got if you're the turn 1 player, if you've got that kind of like 7-card hand, you can play Eureka where there's nothing better to play. Something less good if you're the 2nd player, but still always good to get early on in the game and hope to just kind of archive non-logos cards with it. And we've seen the graft early from Kiwi with the Nova Archaeologist. It's an interesting play. You'd think you'd want to save that for later.
I think it's a gamble, essentially, that they won't be able to shift that Archaeologist, and you'll just be able to pop that in the archives and basically give yourself Brig insurance, right? because they can't hit you with this giant brig combo if you yourself have a graft ready to take it all back.
Yeah, you've got to think Kiwi has some way of getting this graft back, because not the most removal in Anthony's deck as far as I remember, but I think there must be some ways of dealing with this archaeologist. But it seems strange to play this on a turn where only 2 cards are played to play a graft this early.
With the quicksand gone, there's a couple of options left in terms of 3 fates, neutron shark, banish maybe, but not that much. You've probably got a reasonable chance of it surviving.
Fair
and that
enough.
is perhaps why Anthony is taking a big pause here.
Yeah, I think Anthony may be going through the same motions we are of thinking, why would he play that graft so early unless he definitely has a way of getting it back? Because, you know, Kiwi must know that Anthony has ways of dealing with this. You know, this is still at risk. You've got to wonder, what does he have in the hand that could get this back? I mean, maybe he's got double, I'm forgetting the name, CYX researcher, but that seems a lot of resource to use when you have to get that and the archaeologist back.
Yeah, also presumably would have had to gamble on drawing a researcher and not having it on that Logos turn.
Yeah, because you think you would have there, if you had the researcher, you would have played the graft, then played the researcher to just immediately get the graft back. It's a strange one. I mean, I'm seeing Anthony consider this very hard. They are going Logos here. We see the Eureka. Oh, Eureka, I suppose maybe just thinking whether or not to risk it. Maybe had other Logos cards in hand and thinking, is this worth it? I've got to think I hit at least 1, maybe 2 Logos cards with that Eureka.
Yeah, I don't think you would have played that if you had more than if you had only 1 Logos card in hand.
Especially with the Desania running around. It's a risk.
And that is another factor, I think, into that thinking time.
Definitely is, yeah. We're seeing Kiwi considering here. Maybe considering whether he wants to take the Logos turn. I've got to assume he would, just to kind of get that graft back. But then, I suppose, with the Nova Ecologist, you can archive a card at any time. It doesn't have to be the top card.
Yeah, but then there's always the risk of it getting killed.
And with discard to Gateway of Disc, control the weak. I'm going to guess into Untamed here.
Yeah, I think Untamed's going to be a frequent choice because Untamed in this deck especially is sort of house you want to build up some sort of big combo play for rather than use it in bits and bobs. Yeah, so I think it's almost always going to be disruptive to force someone to control the weak.
Yeah, I think
Untamed even.
Especially in the early game. I think later game you're going to start wanting to choose this instead. But yeah, you're right. In the early game, you want to get those Untamed cards in the archives. Do you see a Persistent Hunting, which means that can't be using that Nova Archaeologist to archive that control the weak or that graft this turn.
And thanks to a pretty swift start in terms of Ember, Anthony is on check here.
He is indeed, yeah. Those Eureka doing work, getting him 3 Ember and a very nice Untamed turn early on. Some Ember pips on this card. As we said in the deck chat, a lot of cards in Anthony's deck have pips on I think nearly half the cards. So
17 of them, so just shy of half.
Yeah. We're going to see shadows here. Going to see Miasma stops the Forge. Silent Dagger. Very fast. Sacrifice Nova Archaeologist just to get rid of that Dana. That is an interesting one.
I guess thinking that they're probably in a rush race game.
Just wanting to get those pips on the board. Yeah, I can very much see that.
Dilemmas abound here. Question number 1. Does Anthony have the bridge?
I mean, you've got to think that if he does, this is the time to play it.
Yeah. We know that Kiwi's got rid of the IG, so the fact that they're stalling above 6 Ember is not the biggest deal.
No, but I mean, if he's thinking so without that IG disc, are we going to see Dis? Interesting. We hear, I think, Charettes in Anthony's deck here. I believe there's at least one, so we could see him knocking Kiwi off that key. And again, just making that graft much more of a risk. We're seeing more and more here, but we can see the 3 fates just played just for the Ember. First things first. Anthony taking some consideration, maybe trying to decide what order to play things in. And then one order is more beneficial than the other. We're going to see a Yerk.
Considering what to discard with the Yerk.
Yeah, I think almost certainly. And we see the Archimedes discarded. I assume here just thinking, this is becoming a race. This game is going to go by very quickly. There's probably not going to be time to do the kind of Archimedes setup they'd be looking to do. Just wants to ream through that deck as quickly as possible.
And now the old Yerk as well.
Yeah, going to discard 2 cards here. Mama
Was
Yerk,
presumably
as I
considering.
affectionately call it.
So the pause is presumably considering whether to play one or both of these Yerks.
Yeah, or whether to
Whether it's with
discard a
a.
Yerk with another Yerk as well, I think would be a choice. Playing both and playing Misery Exploit and Way of the Porcupine, and a not
Yeah,
finish
fair
with
enough.
you. To bring back. I didn't see what bring back, but I've got to
Nothing.
assume.
It's
No,
only
brought back
Dana that's in.
at least 2 cards, I think. So he had 11 in the discard, and now he has 10. So I think at least 2 things were brought back. But unfortunately, not being told what that was by.
I didn't see what they discarded with the. Archimedes perhaps.
Yeah, so Archimedes. Yeah, I think. And
And
this is
there's
Control the Week
Control the
into
Week
the
#2.
Untamed. We are going to see Anthony Forge here. So yeah, both players have forced a key. Kiwi Forge on his turn. So you got to think that Anthony would have really loved to have had that Brig combo available to play, but just didn't have it. We are going to see Untamed here, as has been mandated by Kiwi playing that Control of the Week with a discard of Save the Pack and a Kindred long shot. Not a great turn there.
That's Control the Week for you. You forced into making suboptimal choices.
Yeah, and with that Succubus on the board here as well, just limiting Anthony's draw too. We can see another Control of the Week into Untamed again. I've got to think we're going to see a fight here, probably from the Succubus and Stealer of Souls to gain Kiwi and Ember and destroy that Kindred, just limiting the amount of things he can do. And maybe we're not going to see a Reap. I think then maybe see a. I would think we're definitely going to see the Kindred long shot destroyed. I would assume, but maybe not.
You could just leave it. It's not that big a deal. They'll probably fight with the Succubus.
Yeah, I think it's just for the price of an Ember. Fights the old Yerk instead. So I think
yeah, because then if they leave the Kindred here and go to check with the Stealer of Souls, they're gonna get a key.
Indeed they are. Yeah, but okay.
Have that Ember control.
Yeah. And of course, Control the Week into Untamed again here. Not going to be able to Brig, which effectively turns off that Brig combo because now that final key, Brig doesn't do anything. And I think this is what we were saying in the deck chat here. The problem with Control the Week is it means that you can now safely go to check without any risk of that Brig hitting you.
And that's it. Chooses to Reap and kill a Stealer of Souls, and that's your full turn.
Indeed, yeah. And now we're going to Time Traveler come down as well here.
So probably quite good Logos Rush happening.
Yeah, Dr. Escatera gets you that 1 Ember. Sloppy lab work. Getting rid of the bad penny. Happy to see that go. And Kiwi here already up to 4 Ember and 2 keys. Turn 7, barely 10 minutes into the match. And
because Anthony's had 2 turns where they barely could do anything.
Yeah, and Anthony, I don't really know how he comes back from this. We do see Eureka, so goes back onto check for 7 here. But will he be able to play anything else? Does get to see the lab work, so archive quite a bit here, but we've not seen the Desania yet. There's not many cards left in Kiwi's deck. We wonder if we'll see it here. I think if we do, that'll be game.
Feel like a risky move, and he's gone Logos. And
Picks up his archive, and there's the Desania.
Oh,
just and I've got to think that that's game here. I don't think there's any big Ember control beyond that graft in Anthony's deck, really.
Yeah, so short of a fairly elaborate and implausible looking key charge play, Kiwi's going to win this here.
Yep, we do see, because Anthony is on 8 Ember here, so could forge that second key. But I think we are going to see the graft as well coming back. Oh, and that's just been redrawn as well. That's not even...
Yep. That's the end.
Very fortunate. And yeah, we do see the GG coming in from Anthony. Just going to concede here. Doesn't
less than 10 minutes. Brutal Control the Week action.
Yeah.
But then both decks are pretty fast.
They are indeed. I mean, I don't think we could have seen any way of even getting that key charge really, even with the
he would have had. Yeah, even before the graft, he would have had to have almost all of the Untamed stuff in hand, ready to Soldiers to Flowers key charge.
Yeah,
which was too much to ask.
Yeah, and even then, I don't think there was enough Untamed creatures in the discard for that to be pulled off. No. But yeah, a very short game here today. And yeah, just as we predicted, this was going to be a race, and it's unfortunately for Anthony rather, a race that Kiwi won just by kind of putting hurdles in the way of Anthony in the form of those Control the Weeks.
Well played both sides.
Well played indeed. Thank you very much for listening. I've been David Baron von Fabulous Lark.
And I've been Callum, the Good Doctor Young.
We've been Team Screech Bob-Omb. Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.
Bye bye.